Nope. Hey. Oh my gosh.
We had a whole talk.
So anyway, we were talking about our weekend. Pedro said he was really busy with gymnastics competition. And I had an audition, a theater audition.
Right.
And
that was funny.
it's funny because we can completely edit the entire thing out because all it's going to be is me gesturing like this and pointing like that.
No, that's okay. You have to figure out. When you do a show, sometimes people going like,
yeah,
and you want to know what they're saying. It's like doing background on a movie.
Yes. Okay, let me post this. Mary's not in, she's in the virtual green room right now, but I'm just going to post that comment from Daryl.
That is correct.
Daryl, she saw it. I can see her face. She's smiling.
Right on the money.
She's grinning from ear to ear.
You're right on the money, Daryl.
So we were talking about speaking loudly. Yeah. And trying to speak loud enough.
You have to project.
You have to project your voice because you said you heard me.
I heard you auditioning from outside, and I got to talk to this young man out there. He was waiting for his wife. Yeah. The one thing that I was wondering about was that when you were auditioning, yeah, some of the other actors that were outside,
what were you wondering?
Were about to audition, and they probably heard you.
Well, the one lady who came up onto the deck of the theater outside, because I was running lines and going over, and she sat down and she put her script on the table. And I always like to see who else is auditioning for the same role as me. So I glanced over at the table and I saw, I was like, uh-oh. She's auditioning for the same part as me. So I was like, I need to go in and I need to crush it. So, I think it went well. I haven't heard anything, but that's the name. That's the name of the game.
I gotta say, I don't audition for any movie. They usually call me because they need my type.
What's your type?
Short, dark, and handsome.
Oh, pish posh, Pedro.
Listen, I think you sounded pretty well. If they don't pick you, then that's their fault.
I know. I was hoping to have an email by the end of the evening. That didn't happen, so we'll see.
Well, you know what? I'm excited today because we have Mary coming on.
Yeah.
And I have been to a couple of her clinics.
Oh, have you?
Oh, yes, I have.
You told me that.
Yes, I have.
You did.
Yeah, and she's very, very good at teaching the clinic.
Yes.
If I rise to be half of the clinician that she is,
wow,
I'd be okay.
Yes, for those that are watching, we have Mary Wright on, USAG Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Olympic coach. Yes.
Like when you know someone, and I know you, it's like somebody was called me and told me, I saw your wife when I was flying back from so and so in this movie, right? It is so nice to see somebody that I know.
Okay.
So I was sitting there. I think it was the Rio Olympics. Remember that?
Yeah, of course.
And Mary came on. I saw Mary. I said, Mary. And looking at me like, what's the matter? It's Mary.
I love that.
So when you see somebody that it's like you get all excited, even though like you see them at places. Yeah, and a lot of the subjects that she covered in her book are some of the subjects that I like to talk about. But
yeah, and she wrote them for gymnastics, but I was reading them as someone who's not a gymnast and just.
And it applies to.
Yes. Just phenomenal, and that's how no pun intended, how flexible your work is, because it can be taken either way, applied to any situation.
Yeah, in the movies as well, because I know when I did that movie with Charles, right?
Yeah.
After the movie was filmed, I looked at it and said I could have done better. So you hard on yourself. So we're going to be talking about perfectionists.
Right. Yes.
Right. And a couple of my gymnasts that went through that. We're also talking about goal setting, which is very important.
Yeah.
Okay. So without further ado, as they say.
Yes.
Let's bring her in. Give an introduction, honey.
Okay, so folks, again, on tonight's show, our guest is Mary Wright. She is an author, Olympic coach, and she's in the USAG Hall of Fame.
That's right.
And you said you went to a few of her clinics as well. So we're gonna have her on. We're gonna discuss tapestry of gymnastics. We'll tell you guys the subjects that we're gonna discuss when she comes on. But sit back, relax, and enjoy the show, you guys. Here we are with Mary Wright.
Hello.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, we're glad that you're
so
here with
happy
us.
to have you.
We're happy to have you. So how you doing, Mary?
I am doing really well, enjoying life, enjoying this new phase of my gymnastics career. Like in 2014, I sold my gym, and I'm about to turn 65. I'm retiring, and after coaching 35 hours a week and running the gymnastics program for 20, 30 hours a week, suddenly to doing nothing, it's like, okay, I can't do this. There's no way I can do this.
2 months later.
I just pivoted, and now I'm doing a lot of coaches education because I realized that life is all about learning from the successes and the failures. And I feel that I learn more from my failures and my mistakes than I learn from successes. So I want the coaches to understand that you don't have to do things by trial and error. There are so many people out there with a lot of wisdom, and the bottom line is you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And it's only keeping your mind open to anything and everything. And this is sad to say, but 8 years later, I'm a much better coach now than what I was before when I had an Olympic team, because I kept my mind open to learning new things, and I've really learned a lot in the last 8 years.
Wow, that is amazing. You know, it's interesting because I'll compare that to sometimes what you say. And you said when you were in your younger years, to show a gymnast how to do a skill or perform a skill, you would perform the skill.
Right.
But now, when maybe you don't have that luxury, you have to learn to coach or speak and reach them in a different way. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, when I was 19, I said, I told Andrea, one of my first gymnasts, I said, so we're going to do an Arabian. And she said, what is that? And then I rang, I said, watch.
Oh, I never did that.
Oh.
That was my coaching when I was younger.
Yeah.
But then after that, going to a lot of clinics, I learned a lot. Like, for example, teaching the full turn on the beam, I learned from Mary.
Really?
Breaking it down, and so the kids, like, how are you so good at that? And I pay attention.
You know who was really
So I
good
learned
at
that
that?
from you, Mary.
Really good at that,
Thank
Mary,
you.
is our daughter Layla. Full turn on the beam, just gorgeous.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good job. Good. You taught him well, Mary. You taught him well.
That's what I want to hear.
Yes. So then you retired, and then 2 months later you came back and
That's so funny.
started working.
Yeah, well, and I came back in a completely different field. I went and visited my home country in New Zealand and my old gym, and the girls there were training for world championships and Olympics and so on. And I got back home to the States, and then they called me. Their head coach had had her third concussion in 2 years.
Wow.
And this one left her in really bad shape. She couldn't stand. She couldn't do anything for almost a year. So they said, can you come back and coach? And I said, well, I can't commit to full time, but I can commit to putting the program together, setting you up on it, doing your annual plans, and coming like every 2 to 3 months and staying here 2 to 3 weeks. So that's what I did. So suddenly I'm back taking kids to world championships, Olympic games, World Cups. And so it was just, okay, I guess I'm not ready to retire.
You said that 2 months was kind of like torture.
It was. I seriously, I knew I needed to prepare myself to retire, which I thought I had done, knowing that, okay, you sold your gym. Ryan, who took the gym over from me, who bought the gym from me, he had been coaching with me for 14 years. And in all the years, never once did we ever have a disagreement. He was amazing. And now that guy, this is what's incredible. He took Olympus to being the national coach gym of the year, the gymnastics facility of the year in 2021. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Just so but it was hard to sit back and suddenly, okay, I've watched every Hallmark movie that there possibly is. There's got to be something else. There's got to be something else. And it was, okay. So Sherry Hoffman and I created Masters of Sport. And that company is basically geared towards coaches' education. And it also geared towards athletes and parents and judges. But it's learning from the masters. So we get all the people who are the best at their job. We get their input, and we put together manuals. We've written maybe like 30 books that are educational manuals and books and videos and just and it's kept us extremely busy. And she's like, she's like a master in child development. And so she's actually taught me a lot and what a 9-year-old can rationalize, what they can think, what they should be addressing. And to me, it was just like, no, don't just do it. Yeah. No. There are things that, like a 12-year-old mind is different from a 6-year-old mind.
Absolutely.
So, so I learned right from day one.
But a lot of people don't realize that the perception is where you're standing is different. So, like they say, like a kid, like for some people have tiny tats in the class, right? The kid will go and start hugging somebody's leg because all the pants look the same. And until they look up, they don't realize that it's somebody else's parent. So our perception depends on where we're standing or where we're looking from. And sometimes our perception tend to be like, you should know that. And no, they shouldn't know that, especially if it's a beginner gymnast, shouldn't know the same thing as another gymnast that been doing it for a while. So the perception is different. It's where you're standing.
One of our coaches is watching right now, Coach Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
Sarah and Daryl. Daryl used to coach way back when I first started.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. Very beneficial.
He was a gymnast as well. So if you have any question, just pop in.
You guys can type them right into the comments thread. But we're going to get into our first topic because I think that is so important. So we're going to talk about your chapter 7 in your book is goal setting is my voice through journaling. Love that.
Yes. And this is when I say I'm a better coach now, is that I never did goal set. I did goal setting in that I did the annual plan and we had goals for each part of the plan and so on. But I never really got the athletes involved with the goals and setting them down. And it was a huge mistake because now that I understand how important that is, it's like, for example, I'll have the kids, I've done lots of clinics at different gyms and workshops, and it's like, okay, so we're going to create a vision board. So here's your triangle. Here's your big mountain that you're going to climb this year. What is your goal for the end of the season? What is your goal? And it may be, I'm going to make nationals, or I want to win, or whatever it might be. And I said, well, bottom line is it's not there to win. This is for you. What is the best that you can be for you? What would you like to achieve? Well, I want to make nationals. Great. So how are you going to do that? Well, I don't know. I'm just going to work, Well, there are all these various steps we need to take to get to that great big goal. So let's figure it out and start with, like, each day in the gym. I say this is one thing I did do with my athletes is line up at the beginning, and I'd say, okay, you're going to pick one thing today that is going to make you better than you were yesterday. Think about that. If you can, and then at the end of every workout, this is an entire optional team, like 50-something kids. Every kid every week could step forward and said, I am better today than I was yesterday. because they consciously made a goal. And it could be, I'm going to be a better teammate, or I'm going to fight for those handstands. And what I'm doing, I'm going to get my legs tighter on that back handspring, whatever it is. I had to write it down. And then the thing is, it's okay. So that's what you're going to do. Okay. So why are you going to do? Why is that your goal for the day? Because I'm going to get a higher score. I'm going to look better. I'm going to feel more accomplished. Great. Write it down. So they would write it down. And then I said, okay, so how are you going to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not sure. Well, let's think about it. What do you need to do to attain that goal for the day? So then they'd figure it out, like I'll do that drill on the floor, like back walkover, so I can feel my legs, my knees tight in the back handspring. Awesome. And then the kicker is putting a time frame on it. So when are you going to do it? Well, today. Or most of them will say, I'm going to really start on that tomorrow. I said, tomorrow is always tomorrow. Let's do it today. Okay. So then you've got to figure out, like, what makes it encompassingly great is that they understand that, okay, if you achieve that goal in its entirety at the end of the day, that's phenomenal. You've made a correction, which is phenomenal. But if you didn't quite make that goal, did you fail? No, because it's all about the effort that is in making that goal. It's not because change is a process. A correction may take a few turns, a few days, a few months, a few years. And I'll always say, listen, if you made every single correction every time you heard it, you'd beat Simone Biles. And believe me, that's not going to happen. So let's just embrace the corrections, take them one at a time, and let's work towards that. And the fact that you are trying and putting the effort out to make a correction, you have already won. And then so each goal, and I said, now you train 300 days a year. Can you imagine how good you're going to be this year? 300 things in your gymnastics journey are better than they were a year ago. Can you imagine how great you're going to feel about that? And if it's not written down, you don't remember.
That is very true. Very true.
That's true.
That part I've learned since I started. And it's like a dream remains a dream and a goal remains a goal.
Right.
You create the small steps to achieve it.
That is so amazing, because I think, just specifically what you said as far as writing the goals down and how you're going to get there is so important, because, and I guess I haven't witnessed this as much as my husband because he's in the gym more, but he'll like, so-and-so, said she never did this skill before. And we've been working on it, for quite some time. And her teammates like, no, so-and-so, you did do that skill. No, I never did it. And it's like they don't remember. And I found that so interesting. Yeah. But like you said, having them write it down and write how they're going to get there is key.
Yeah, one of the things that I do for them to remember is that if they get a skill that they never done before, I run around the gym. I go, yabba dabba doo! So to make it memorable, so they remember that they actually did that skill. And when they want to get a skill, because at Sealy, they want to see me at Sealy, so they try harder to make this skill. But what's important about the writing down, the one thing I haven't done, Mary, and we're going to do that now, is give it a time frame.
Yes.
Important.
Because even for me right now, I'm thinking about, I gave myself a time frame this morning. I said, I got to send my book to the publisher today. So I finished. Yeah, goals are very, we had a girl that was pretty good and she was winning first place all the time. And what was different about her is that at 6 years old, she used to write her goals down. Her name is Gabby, by the way. So, and she used to, it was strange because she's such a little girl and she's over there with her pen and writing what she wanted to do. And at that age, she was hitting a cast handstands, which we still have the video. And it's because she actually wrote down her goal for everything.
So that's incredible. For her to even come up with that as a 6-year-old is absolutely phenomenal. And that's not normal. That's
No, it's
normal.
rare. It's rare.
Yeah.
Let's share a comment from Daryl. We can post that right
Darren
now.
has a couple of
He
comments.
has a couple comments. Let's post his top comment. So Daryl says, Mary won't remember me, but we've brushed shoulders a number of times. We were both at Diane Durham's service in Gary, Indiana, but we were all wearing masks that day.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was a tough day.
Daryl, go ahead.
Daryl, you go.
I was going to move on to his next comment, but if you want to go ahead and you want to comment still on the one about
Diane,
that day, you could go ahead, Mary.
That day, the 1984 Olympic team all came together, and because I coached a lot of those girls, and Tom had asked me to be there, which of course I would do. And Mary Lou couldn't go because she had COVID, but the majority of the team were all there. And actually we sat at dinner afterwards and I talked to them about perfectionism and how it affected each individual. Like, that Diane struggled with anorexia and she eventually died from that. And that anorexia is a manifestation of maladaptive perfectionism.
Right.
So what happens with an athlete, and I've done a lot of workshops. In fact, I've just come back from Singapore. I did workshops with them and with their parents and the coaches and the athletes. And it's same in the Philippines and the same in New Zealand and also in a lot of clubs in the States. And what I've found, every person who strives to be great at anything in their lives is a perfectionist. That's what perfectionism is. But there's a adaptive perfectionism and a maladaptive perfectionism. And I'm just going to give you a quick analogy that will relate it immediately, and it'll be tough. Okay, so you have a battalion of soldiers getting ready to go to Afghanistan. And they're all perfectionists. They're highly trained. They have to be able to respond in a split second. It could be life or death. So they are at the epiphany of the very top of perfectionism. And then they go to Afghanistan. They see things there that no one should ever have to see. Absolutely destructive things that they should never have to see. The battalion, they all come back. Those with a preponderance of adaptive perfectionism are able to adapt back into life and to the social scene and into their family life and into the workforce and are okay. Those with a preponderance of maladaptive perfectionism, they come back, but the negativity and the destructive behavior in their head is so great that the only thing that will numb it is alcohol or drugs. So they're addicted. And then they become homeless. And then in a moment of clarity, they're on the streets homeless. In a moment of clarity, they think, this is it. This is my life. This is what I have. And 20 vets a day commit suicide.
Wow. Yeah.
And the way, and then what I did, I've adapted all that research and that I've done with perfectionism to gymnastics specifically. But it's worldwide. It's in every sport and every activity in life. They did a study with 3,000 chess players in China, and 5 out of 7 were maladaptive.
Wow.
The World Health Organization has done research in the UK, Canada, and the USA, and they have deemed that maladaptive perfectionism is at epidemic forms in children as young as 9 are committing suicide. So how it manifests is, and the strangest thing is I've done the workshops with all the kids, and we're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids now I've worked with in this last year. And I'll say to the girls, I say, okay, in fact, I've even talked with boys as well. And I'll say, okay, so you're about to get up on the beam and you're level 4 or 5 and you're going to do a back walk over on the beam. Do you get that little negative voice in your head that tells you, you're going to fall? So why are you even going to bother? You know you're going to fall, so won't you just quit?
Mm-hmm.
I said, do any of you get that? And I thought, well, you know, we'll get a few. 100%. Every single kid in every place I've been, 100% of them have put their hand up. And I said, okay, so what do you do about it? And they said, I don't know. So I'll give you another quick example. This one gym I was working at, I was there for a while because their coach was out. And this one girl comes over to me the very first day I arrived there, and she says, I just want you to know, I never stay on the beam. I don't stay on the beam in practice. I don't stay on the beam in meets. I never stay on the beam. And I said, good to know. Then we started working with this. I started working with her other coaches and working with changing her mindset and changing that negative thought to a positive thought. And she would write things down. She kept a journal. And 2 months later, she won beam at level 9 Westerns.
Wow. Yeah.
And that wasn't me. That was her having the tool to turn around. So now, this is one of the things that with the girls who were with Diane, they all talked about the issues that they're dealing with. Like one of them who's very, very productive. She said to me, I just feel I don't have a voice. You know, with gymnastics, I never had a voice. And I said, I don't understand. What do you mean you didn't have a voice? And she, I didn't have a voice. And to this day, I bring in all the input from all the people around me to make the decision. And then everything's successful and it's wonderful, but I don't have a voice. And then that's when I changed the goal setting to, it's like I put on it, goal setting is my voice through gym. So then it's like, okay, so what she felt wasn't that she didn't have a voice. She didn't feel worthy of her voice. Same as those vets who couldn't handle the destructive images going in their head. They were, when they were actually in battle for the USA in a foreign country and keeping us safe, they had a purpose. They were at top of their game. So when they come back, it's our duty to do something for them to make, because they can feel worthy again. That's why we believe 100% that we can turn this mindset around. So what our kids do, and Dr. Ellie Arnold, she's the one that helped me through all this, and I'm going with her program. She is amazing, the best of the best of the best. And she said, Mary, have them write down every negative thought that comes in their mind. So I took these kids from level 5 to level 10, from 7 years old to 18 years old. And I said, okay, I want you to write down and one kid's writing like 20 things. I said, we're just going to do 5, just 5 negative things that you feel that's coming into your head when you're going to do a skill. So they wrote them all down. And then they all shared. And at the beginning, it was like, no, everyone was afraid to say, yes, this is what I do. And I said, listen, this is 100% normal. Everybody feels it. Everybody. Yes, it can become a mental health issue if it is not, if you don't have the tools to work through it. So then it was like, right now that, like, it could be, I suck. Why am I even here? And then you write the positive. What is the positive? Really? Watch me. I'm going to show you. Or, you're going to fall. No, I'm not. I work too hard. I deserve to be good because I work hard. I will do that. And with my research, it's shown that with that negative behavior that is going in your head, a negative physical response will occur, like acting out or throwing a tantrum, whatever it might be. But the positive can change that mindset, but they have to believe it. That's the key. They have to believe it. So with any of that negative voice they had, I had them write down a positive response, and then they had to believe it. It was from them what they really believed. And then Doc Ellie said, Mary, what I want you to do is have them draw the picture of that beast on paper. So they all drew the beast. And this is the beast that has total control of them, on their ability to make make a skill or stay on the beam or be positive. I said, okay. And so she said, then give them crayons, glitter, everything. And then they draw like a polka dot dress, a hat, a little red bag, high-heeled shoes. And they make that beast something that they can look at and smile. And then I had them name that. So that what used to be beast is now their friend. So I said, now what we're going to do and work out every time that negative voice has anything, you write it down. And if you can't come up with a positive, you come to me and together we will work on the positive response to that negative. And then the positive response started taking control. So it's and it's like we expect these children from 7 years old, 8 years old, 10, 12 to have the ability to change that mindset. Let's face it, adults can't even change that mindset. They have the tools. So we're expecting them to just do it. You know, you can do it. Come on. No, it's not that. It's like, okay, I know I can do this because I can do this. And I have this tool. I can do this. I can break it down. I can make that correction work. And when they have that positivity takes over, and the response physically is a positive response. And that's the key. And then like one of the girls I'm talking to there at Diane's celebration, and she said, I am sometimes 2 months before I can open my front door and go outside. The depression is so bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we have thousands of athletes in our past. If I had known how to deal with her, I would have dealt differently. But I didn't have the tools. I didn't know. I didn't even know there was such a thing as adaptive and maladaptive perfectionism. And so I couldn't help her. But it, like, this is one thing, like this particular girl, that she was laughing, but she said, Mary, why did you weigh us in every day? This is back in the 80s. And I thought from her, I said, you know what? I have no idea. I just thought everybody around the world is doing it. I've got to do it too. And I haven't done that since 1990, ever weighed them in. But she laughed about it. She said, do you know that before morning workouts, we wouldn't even eat at all?
Wow.
We had to weigh in. And I just said, I am so sorry. And she said, no, it's not your fault. Everybody was doing it. We thought that's what you had to do. But fortunately, with education, we now know you don't have to do that. And so it's just understanding their mind and no. But I think from coaches and parents and athletes, we all need to be behind this and understand that we can create a group of gymnasts who have come through and as a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old, a 40-year-old, a 50-year-old, are positive human beings who loved their gymnastics career. And I did this one camp and all the coaches there were aged between mid-20s to mid-30s. They were all former good gymnasts, collegiate gymnasts, and some of them were now, in fact, they were all coaching, so they were obviously coaches. And I talked to them about perfectionism. And they all shared, which they had never done before to anybody, they all shared that they struggle with this every single day. They get up and think, I suck. Look at me. I am so hopeless. And I said, well, what is causing you to feel that way? Because I haven't done this and I haven't done that. And I said, okay, start with one little thing, one little goal you're going to write down and you're going to work on it and you're going to make a change on it. And it's just knowing how to address them. So I know we can create a journey for these kids moving forwards if as coaches and parents and athletes, we can get together and show them that this is normal. Yes, it can become a mental illness, and to the point where this manifests in the research I've done, it manifests in ways like it starts off with anxiety, then into depression, and then test-taking anxiety, self-doubt, berating themselves, telling them they're stupid. They're like, it's like, I'm so stupid, I can't even do that. And just putting themselves down constantly to the, where it gets into depression and eating disorders and self-mutilation, like cutting. If you read that chapter, you read this Ashley story and how she cut herself constantly. And And now she is the most incredible human being. She's completely healed of any of the negativity. She's absolutely amazing. And she was able to do that herself. And I understand all the maladaptive behaviors that I went through. And knowing that, you know what, like, for example, when I was 15, I was in our school swimming championships the previous 2 years. I had won, and it was based on 3 or 4 races. And then a girl transferred to my school, and I thought, I'll still beat her, no big deal. Then at the end of the day, she was first and I was second. I was so humiliated and so ashamed that I had not won. And my reaction to that was the next year, and I actually tell that story earlier in the book, but I didn't tell the story that, the next year I didn't even enter because I couldn't take the humiliation of not winning.
Wow. Yeah.
But at the same time, I told my mum, who was my gymnastics coach, I told her, hey, she said, well, how did it go? I said, I came second. And she said, was every stroke in every race your absolute best? And I thought for a minute, no, probably not. And she said, well, be happy with second because you certainly didn't deserve first. I thought, and then for about 2 minutes, then I thought, man, she is right. She is right. So from that day on, I promised myself that whatever I was going to do, it was going to be my best. And worked through with myself. Like, I just had these little battles with myself and said, okay, if it's your best effort, that's all that counts. It doesn't matter your place. But I had the tools to do that with myself. So eventually I could bring that maladaptive into a more adaptive feeling in a more adaptive way. But it's just, I feel so strongly that we need to help the kids now. And like athletes, world championship, Olympic, an athlete who has won like 10 Olympic medals. I talked to her about this. And in fact, she sat in on one of my lectures at GAT last year and she was crying. She said, that's me. That's me. And I said, you know what? It's not just you, it's everyone. But we have to figure out how to help because these kids are in so much turmoil that there's a point where it gets so bad in their minds that it's either suicide or a transference of guilt. And they have to take that, they transfer that guilt, like instead of saying, I'm just so stupid. Well, my coach said I'm just too fat. Or my coach said I'm too stupid to do that. Or my parents said this, or my coach said this, or whatever it might be, because that's the only way they can live with themselves.
Right.
That's
very important that you said that, because we had a coach that said something like that to one of the girls, and this girl was a state champion on beam, but every time she comes back to visit me, she doesn't talk about her championship and the things that she did. She talked about how that one coach put her down and said that she was too fat.
And she's in her 30s, 40s now.
And
right?
she's in her 40s now. And every time she comes, she remembers some of the good things, but she always brings that up. So, and some coaches don't know what damage they do.
No,
they say
it's so destructive. It's and it's not just teaching the athletes this; it's dealing with the coaches as well, like
and parents.
Yeah. Oh, and parents.
And parents, right.
It usually starts in the home, because the research I've done, it shows that children as young as 2 and 3, the expectations put on them, it's starting at that age.
Wow.
And that's why we really, it's our job to make sure that when they leave gymnastics, that they leave with this amazing feeling of contentment, of success. And it doesn't matter if they won a gold medal. The whole journey. And that's why journaling and goal setting, it's written down, and they look back at year after year in their journals. And like this one kid, the one who ended up winning beam, at the end of the week, 1 week, she said, I'm so hopeless. I can't do anything. I said, let's look at Monday. Oh my gosh, Monday it says that you made 3 of each skill in a row without a wobble. Wow. And she said, I did? Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
I said, pretty good, huh? Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. But, you know, then I said, well, let's look at Tuesday. Tuesday, you made 5 routines and stuck 5 routines. Yeah, you fell on a couple, but you made 5 routines, which was the assignment.
Right.
How can you not be happy with that? You competed with yourself. You chose to make that good, and you've written down what you thought and why you made it. And you've written down your little goals, and you made each of those goals. That's amazing. And so by then she's, yeah, actually, I really am good. I really am amazing. I think, yeah, you are. And it's, but they won't believe it if it's, they can't see it. And once they write it down and it's their handwriting, they can't take it back. It is the truth. This is the truth. Okay,
That
so
is true. You want to post a couple, you know, oh, before you post another comment, because I want to post another comment. I just have to say this because it's somewhere here in chapter 7. Okay, so there's like a one sentence in the middle of these 2 paragraphs. It says, one either wins or learns. And so about 5 or 10 minutes ago, Daryl posted, he said in the comments, he said, with respect to reaching goals, Nelson Mandela said, I never lose. Either I win or I learn.
it
Right.
is absolute truth.
Right.
So funny. Oh my gosh.
So that's why this book, my book, it says it's a self-reflection of tapestry of gymnastics, and it's short stories of lessons learned and lessons earned. They're not failures, they're not wins, they're learned and earned. And that's the key. It's you make the journey. That's why when you chose goal setting as the majority of this thing, that's what's amazing, because when they write it down and they journal their thoughts, journal the actual physical things that they are doing, journal those negative comments and creating positivity from them, journal all of that. Then at the end of the year, they look at what they've done, how far they've come. Maybe they didn't make nationals, but you know what? They really tried hard. They gave their best. And I tell people all the time, well, I want to win. I said, you know, it's not about winning. If you can be the best that you can be, if you can do the best that you can do, you've won. It's not like you're going out to beat this girl or get a 9.9. It's to be the best that you can be. If you can do that, wow, you're amazing, because that best every day can get a little more, a little more, a little more. And eventually what you've achieved in a year is just incredible. And it's all written down.
I think that is so amazing, because as soon as I was reading and you were talking about journaling, I'm like, man, we need to get some journals for the girls. And then our coach Sarah said we should get some journals.
Well, you know, we have the journals at Masters of Sport. The 52-week journals, everything's written out. So every day they can write out their feelings on a scale of 1 to 5, the little hurts, how they feel, everything. And then they write the goal, and it's all there. And then it's all there for them. And it even has ideas of how to, what you want as your goal for the day, and what you're telling yourself, how to change your mindset. So, because I know
so amazing.
It's that's why I say I'm such a better coach now than I was before, because I didn't know any of this. I had never heard of maladaptive and adaptive perfectionism. And one of my good friends, he's actually a coach. He's a really good coach. He did his doctorate in sports clinical psychology. His doctorate was on his thesis on the difference between maladaptive and adaptive perfectionism. His professor handed it back to him and said, there's no such thing, find another topic.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
That's how, like, I feel like I have coached since 1965 when I was 15 years old, and I never had heard, all those years I coached, I never knew there was such a thing. So I didn't have the tools to help my kids, and they would all be better human beings. They may not have been better gymnasts, but I'm pretty sure they would have been. But that's why, as I said, you know, my whole purpose now is for coaches education and helping the athletes through the trials that we can help them with. But it's all about keeping an open mind to new things.
Yes.
When somebody sent me this article on that, I thought, wow, how come I never heard of this? So then I I downloaded every article. I bought 10 books. I spent a year just immersed in all of this, figuring out how to apply it to gymnastics. In fact, there's a documentary producer who's interested in doing a documentary on perfectionism with gymnastics. And then he read it, and his son was apparently, he tried out for the Golf Pro Tour. And apparently, I'm hearing it from a third party. He said, that's why my son did not make the Pro Tour. That's why he didn't make the cut, because of his perfectionism. So he said, I want to do one for all sports. And I thought, don't just stop at sports. It's in the corporate world. It's in every phase of everybody's life.
Right.
Everywhere. There's no one to be left out on this issue. It's the entire world. And all that negativity creates such negativity and almost evilness that, you know, maybe if we had that under control, we'd have a better world.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I love that. Let's grab a question from our comment section.
Okay.
So the question is, Mary, of the NCAA coaches, are there some that remind you of yourself, the way you would coach? Maybe someone who coaches with examples of positivity.
You know, I haven't, the coaches that I know really well, and like, for example, Tanya and Michael Chaplin at Oregon State. Tanya was one of my gymnasts. She went on to compete in Worlds in Budapest. I'll tell you a really quick story about her. Apparently one day in the gym, because I would change the plan up a little bit periodically, and I said, I just want you to do the 5 best routines on beam that you can do. Well, she had a 5 routine. She came back and she said, I'm done. And in Montreal, 27 Worlds in Montreal, she was there to watch Jade Carey. And Jade had committed to Oregon State. And so she's telling me this story. She's, Mary, do you remember that day? And I'm like, 83? Probably not, but explain it to me. And she told me this story, and she said, and you said to me, you know what, Tanya, they were not your best routines, so you get to start over. And so she went back to the beam and did 5 of the best routines that she could do. And she said on her way over back to the beam, she thought, you know what, she's right. Why should I just do it to stay on the beam? Why shouldn't I make that leap the best it can be? Why shouldn't I make that landing as fast and aggressive as possible? And she said, you changed my life at that very moment. You changed my life. And she said, so much so that when my incoming freshmen come in, I tell them that story. And I tell them, I don't care. I don't care if you do a double layout. I just want you to do the best that you can do in the gymnastics world, in your life, in the academics, everywhere. Just be the best that you can be. And it's that, yeah. So it's like, yeah, she's amazing. And there are a lot of really good coaches out there. Val Condos was amazing. KJ at Oklahoma. What I love about her is her thing on accountability. It's like she does it in a positive way, but they know that they're accountable to the team and what they're doing. And those kids perform to the best that they can be every day. And that's why they're national champions. And if you look at that team, yes, she's got like Reagan, yeah, an Olympian, or almost, but a world championship competitor. But she's got a team of kids you've never heard of. And you've got these other teams with 2 or 3 world championship kids, Olympians and so on. And she will routinely beat them.
Wow.
In fact, one of her gymnasts was at a camp with me, and we were talking, and I said, you know what my mammy is, what I concentrate on is, like, what is life? Life is living intentionally for excellence.
Right.
L-I-E.
Living intentionally for excellence.
And you know, she said to me, she said, do you know what? When I got the championship ring, I engraved that on the inside of the ring, and that every meet I go to, I write on my hand, life, living for excellence.
So, he's a young lady that you may know, and friend of mine. Love this kid.
Oh, Hope Spivey.
This kid?
Love that kid.
Absolutely. I love her too. She's amazing. She was amazing as a gymnast, amazing as a person. She's just incredible. I love her.
There was a previous comment posted by one of our viewers, Abby. She said, everyone needs a coach.
That is true.
Athletes are lucky like that. And that made me think about it. Yeah, because you have someone that's
Well,
working with your child every single day. And usually when you're a coach, you're working with the child for multiple years. If you're a teacher, not
Yeah.
taking anything away from teachers, you have them for a year and
Yeah.
then they go to the next teacher.
That's
But-
why we are so lucky. We
Mhm.
are
yeah,
so
I
lucky.
like to tell you something about that though. I was watching this movie, and a phenomenal actor was on it, and I forgot what his name. The guy that spoke Chinese on that movie. Oh, I can't think of his name right now. But he did this movie, and then I was reading the credits at the end because we're in the business, so I got to check that out. And I was so surprised that he had an acting coach. Yeah, he had an acting coach, and this guy is phenomenal. I can't believe I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah.
Remember, he spoke Chinese on he's in the Marvel movie.
Yeah, but it's
Come back to me.
Oh, you're talking about Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle, yeah.
Don Cheadle.
Oh, okay.
Don Cheadle.
And
See,
it is. And they don't even have to be called your coach. It could be a mentor. It could be somebody that you're embracing as part of helping you become great at your craft. But as a coach, I have been so blessed, and I'm so grateful for my athletes, because I know that I didn't create me. I didn't create my successes. I learned from them, and they helped me climb my mountain. So that, like, for example, one of the things that I dedicated to my athletes is when a kid falls in a meet, it's not on them, it's on us.
Right.
Because we didn't either physically, mentally, or emotionally prepare them. We thought we had, but do you think a kid goes into a meet, especially we're talking like level 10 college or elite, they go into a meet and want to fall? Of course they don't.
No.
They do everything they can to stay on. And something happened. They had a mishap. They fell. Well, that's our job. We didn't quite get the whole thing together. And that's what KJ is superb at doing the whole preparation, the mental, the physical, and the emotional. There are a lot of really strong coaches out there but
one of the questions that I tell my parents not to ask their kids is, why didn't you? Why didn't you? Yeah, because every time, like, the most important time for a kid is on the way to the meet and on the way out of the meet.
Or the gym.
Yeah.
Or to practice.
Or the gym, yes. Yes. When they leave the gym, how they feel about the practice and things like that. There's a parent right now that always bring her kid over to me before the kid leaves, goes home. And the reason she does that is because if she's feeling apprehensive about something, she wants her kid to talk to me about it. And then the kid comes and tell me, well, I didn't do my back handspring. And I said, wasn't that you? I said, I saw me doing it by yourself. She said, oh yeah. And then she smiled and she left.
What I tell the parents, and I said, bottom line is, your child, you're their advocate. They're your daughter. They're not your gymnast. They're not your gymnast. That's your daughter.
Wow.
So
that's right.
It's not Mary the athlete. It's Mary the child. So when they come out of a meet, you embrace them as your child, not as, did you do that or whatever. It's like, if they want to tell you, they'll tell you. But if they do something with you, they won't. And always be there. Let them know that you are always there. You're the parent. That's why I have a triangle. The parents, the athletes, and the coaches. You cannot have one part of that triangle not work. Right. And the parent is their advocate, and they do so much to get that child to the gym, to get them to their meets. So I often will, with the kids in their journals, having an accountability partner. It could be another gymnast. I said, it's okay if you want a parent to help you with becoming accountable, that's great. Embrace it. But as a parent, just always let them do the talking. Don't say,
Right.
well, how did
Right.
you do it today? Did you make your kip today? Or did you do this? And I know that
Oh my gosh, did you
they're
make
just
it
trying to help.
today?
That's
They
exactly
really
right.
are trying to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
yes.
not, they're not trying to create a division. And so it's like embracing the parent and their job and letting them understand where their
Oh,
job
Mary,
starts and finishes.
you are gonna love my book. You're gonna love my
I
book.
can't wait to read it.
Yeah.
So
I
profound.
wrote that. Yes,
Mhm.
exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Um. Oh boy, you're gonna love it.
Awesome.
Accountability
Right.
on all of our parts is key. I remember, when our daughter Layla was competing, and I usually coach, if we're short of coach. I don't normally coach, but I was in the gym, and I would be on the floor with her, and it was sort of like mixed feelings, like, oh, am I her coach or am I her mother? And I would always say before, and then I just started not going on the floor at all.
Yeah.
I would just say, have fun, work hard, and then I would just walk away and go sit down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's very. I was in like a challenging, and I know even you, honey, you were in a challenging position. But it's so hard,
It
doing that.
really
But you
helps.
have to find a way to do that.
Yeah. And I think we need a parenting book for gymnastics because,
That's what I'm writing.
oh, that's
That's what
awesome.
I'm writing. Yes. It's
Because
called.
they
It's called
really
Papa
want,
Don't.
they want
Papa
to
Don't
be the
Teach.
best.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
The parents want to be the best that they can be for their child, but
Right.
they sometimes don't know the parameters.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But embrace them as their child, not their gymnast.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I
Whereas
wrote that down,
coach-
by the way.
what's that?
I wrote that down.
Yeah.
They are not your athletes.
They are your child.
They are your child.
Yes.
They're not your
Um,
gymnast.
so Mary, I was looking up and I see that the book is still available on digital
Yeah, it's available on digital or in the hard copy.
and the hard copy. Okay.
Yeah, so it's only available through Masters of Sport. So
Right.
mastersofsport.com. It's like
That is-
I didn't quite know how to get it published, so I went with the publishing company that does all our Masters of Sport manuals and
okay.
books, and that way we just sell it through there.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, I've been looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
it's great for athletes, parents, and coaches, but very specifically coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk about the things that I learned as a coach coming up, like why do I
Right.
love things? How can I be better? What do I need to do? And all of these things. And it's so I from my early days, what I did and how I did it. So, and then like when I came to the States, it was like, okay, the first thing I learned was keep your mouth shut so no one knows what you don't know, and then work from there. And I
Right.
had really, really good mentors. So
That is wonderful. I just want to read this last part right here before we let Mary go, but because I think it would just be an excellent way to, to finish up. So it says, we all have a mountain to climb. It's how we climb that mountain with all of its obstacles that determines our success.
very true.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is the book right there for you.
Yes,
Right
that's what
here.
it looks like. That is amazing. Yes,
Yeah,
our mountain is not someone else's mountain. We all have our own mountain to
exactly.
That's right.
climb.
It's like your DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
And then
Everybody.
and our
That's something.
purpose as gymnastics coaches is to teach our children well with the best that we have to give.
Mm-hmm.
And we can only give our best if we are at our best.
Yeah,
Wow.
you know when I found out that my coaching was good? Not when I had someone winning. I found that out by the many weddings that they were inviting me to.
Yep, you've got it right there.
And most recently, at the tiny talk class, all of the parents were my former gymnasts.
Oh my gosh.
See, that's
So
Every
funny.
single one of them,
Yeah.
except for one that was standing on the corner. I said, "Do you know all these kids? All these parents were my, my
former
gymnasts, my
yeah.
former gymnasts, except for you." He said, "No, you told my mother."
Oh, that's great.
Oh, I
And
love that.
that's that's when you know you've done it well.
Right.
Yeah.
They keep coming back.
Yeah.
Mary, you know what? We could talk to you for another hour. And we just covered a little bit of the
Yes.
book, but make sure you go and get it. We always have um, our listeners. They always go and get the
Very
book.
supportive.
Very
Yes.
supportive.
So I posted the link in the comments for the digital download. I also put mastersofsport.com and the title of the book in the comments as well, so our viewers can access it quickly. If you want to get it really fast, get the digital download and start reading it right away. It's such a phenomenal book. And as Mary said, these things can be applied to everything, every sport, everything that you do.
Everything in life.
Yeah, not only gymnastics, a life lesson.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mary, for joining us. It was such an honor to meet you and to have you on our show.
Well, next time we'll have to meet in person with a big hug.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Agreed.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mary. Have a great night.
It was definitely my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you to all your supporters. Thank you.
We'll see you soon. I see you. Okay. Thank you so much. Well, there you have it, Mary. I knew she was going to be great.
Yeah.
And
Daryl's on a great show. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to get her on earlier before, but things happen with the scheduling.
Scheduling, yeah, of course.
So, but I'm so glad that she came on because she's awesome. And if you never seen, Hope, Jay, thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that everybody received that because it's needed to say, and now we have it right there. Make sure you go and get the book.
Yes, you guys. The link is there, and also if you would like to get the hard copy, your choice, but they're both available.
Right. And no matter how much you know as a coach, when you go, like every time I go to a seminar, even if I know something, it inspires me, it gets me to go back. Yeah. So the same thing with the books. When you read a book, even if you know the things that are in there, it's going to inspire you. It's like a reminder.
That's one of the things that I appreciate about you. And then, of course, what Mary said, when she tried to retire and then just had to come back, is that you're constantly learning, constantly trying to better yourself.
Right, that's
because when you better yourself, then you give that to your kids, to your athletes.
Pass it on.
Yes.
Well, another great show. We only have good guests.
Only
have good guests.
Yes, that's what Tweed Talks
But she was fantastic. I could tell, there wasn't a lot of talk, but you know what that means, right?
Yes.
That means that they were really listening.
Listening intently.
That, but yeah, that was great. We have to have her on another time too.
Agreed.
Yeah, and we talked about
that's why I watch.
More.
Dee said that's why I watch. I always learn something. Thank you, Dee, for your comment.
Thank you, Dee.
So, folks, thank you guys for joining us tonight. I have to be in the city tomorrow.
Yes.
And I'm driving again. I haven't driven to the city in a bit. I usually just take the train.
Yes.
But,
You're not taking the train tomorrow?
No, I have to drive.
Because you got to pick up some stuff.
Some stuff back, yeah. Very exciting stuff.
Very well, so. Catch my wife tomorrow on what time you on?
10:30 to 12:30. 10:30. Talking tech products.
Yeah, I can't watch that show because I end up buying stuff.
So. Then I'm on for something else. Then I'm on for a fashion live stream. I am but I'll post about it. I'll post about it on my page because it's a lot of fun. I love live stream hosts because I get to talk. And even if no one's there, I'll just talk to myself, apparently.
And also, catch the movie Paint. My wife is on there. We haven't seen it.
We haven't seen
We haven't seen it, but
people are
it's on
saying,
there, and people are talking about it.
yeah.
And so watch the movie Paint. We're gonna catch it.
I've only
soon.
seen it like in,
Okay.
Saugerties or stuff like that. But you guys, thank you so much for joining us live on Tweed Talks. We will see you next Monday.
And as always, love.
What is this?
I got arthritis.
That's what you
Love.
tell your gymnast. No creature fingers.
No
You get
feature fingers.
arms up.
Feature.
Feature.
Okay,
Yeah.
Hope. I'm glad that you came on.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
We'll
you guys.
see you
See you next Monday.
next Monday. Love, peace, and happiness.
Yes.